60% of older riders who sell their motorcycles this year will do so for one specific, heartbreaking reason. The machine in their garage became too heavy to push backward out of a parking space. The industry wants you to believe the only option is a 900-pound touring trike. They are wrong. You do not need to quit, you just need to ditch the iron. Today we expose 15 lightweight motorcycles that senior riders absolutely love. Number 1 sits so low, it feels like the pavement is hugging you back. Let us get into it. Number 15, Honda Super Cub C125. This is the best-selling motor vehicle in human history, not the best-selling motorcycle. The best-selling vehicle of any kind, on any road, on any continent, and it weighs 238 pounds. The Super Cub feels even lighter than that number because Honda bolted all the heavy components to the bottom of the chassis. The step-through frame drops the center of gravity to shoelace level. When you sit on one, it feels like a bicycle someone secretly installed an engine in. The seat sits at 30.7 inches. U-turns in a single-lane driveway require zero effort. Deep gravel lots that used to cause white-knuckle panic are now boring. The centrifugal clutch means you cannot stall it, which eliminates the single most embarrassing moment in motorcycling: stalling at an intersection in front of an audience. Can you pick it up if it tips over? With one hand, not an exaggeration. 238 pounds is recoverable by almost any adult, regardless of age or fitness level. The highway is off the table. This is an honest 55-mile-per-hour machine designed for back roads, small towns, and coffee runs. Most senior riders are not trying to lane split at 100 miles per hour. They just want to ride. New pricing sits around $3,800, and the used market has pristine examples for $2,500 to $3,000. One owner said it best: "I stopped riding my heavy bagger because I dreaded stoplights." The Super Cub made me feel like a kid again. The Super Cub owns the neighborhood. But the fat-tired survivor at number 14 will take you somewhere far more interesting than a coffee shop. Number 14, Yamaha TW200. This motorcycle has barely changed since the late 1980s. That is not laziness, that is confidence. When something works this well, you leave it alone. The TW200 weighs 278 pounds and sits at 31.1 inches. But the weight figure alone does not tell the real story. Those massive balloon-like tires act as gyroscopes. They keep the bike stable at walking speeds in a way that makes narrow rubber tires feel like riding on a tightrope by comparison. Deep gravel, loose sand, muddy ruts, washed-out fire roads. The TW does not care. You can put around a tricky campground at 3 miles per hour with zero anxiety. The bike wants to stay upright because the fat tires are working overtime to help you. At under 300 pounds, dropping it is not a catastrophe. Grab the handlebars and walk it upright. Done. The fat tires make the whole operation feel casual. The 196cc air-cooled engine tops out around 65 miles per hour. It sounds like a determined lawnmower at that speed. Keep it on secondary roads and trails where it belongs, and it will outlast everything in your garage. The seat is a couch cushion. Sit on it for hours. New pricing is $4,999. Used examples are everywhere for $3,000 to $4,000. One rider said, "I thought my days on Forest Service roads were over because my GS was too heavy to pick up. The TW gave me the woods back." The TW200 is a dirt king. But the retro machine at number 13 looks like it rolled out of 1973, without any of the problems that came with motorcycles from 1973. Number 13, Suzuki TU250X. This is the bike that looks exactly like the vintage British machines you might have ridden in the 70s, except it does not leak oil, does not require a rebuild every season, and does not need a dealer lift to service. The TU250X weighs 328 pounds with a seat height of 30.3 inches. The narrow teardrop fuel tank lets your knees grip the chassis tightly, which gives you an enormous sense of control over the machine's balance. The throttle response is linear and predictable. No sudden surges, no twitchy behavior. The clutch pull is feather-light. Threading through a tight parking lot or executing a slow U-turn on uneven pavement is as intuitive as walking. The bike does exactly what you tell it with zero drama. If it tips over in the garage, a senior rider can pick it up using the backward lift technique. 328 pounds is not a crisis. It is a manageable inconvenience. Highway capability is limited, 70 miles per hour, but it takes its time. Short hops are fine. Interstate touring is not the mission. The flat padded bench seat and upright geometry mean your wrists bear zero weight. Long back road rides feel like therapy rather than punishment. These are no longer sold new in the United States, but the used market has pristine examples for $2,500 to $3,500, which makes them one of the best value bikes on this entire list. One owner. It looks like the Triumph I rode in college, but it never leaks oil, and I do not need a mechanic's lift. It gave me my confidence back. The Suzuki nails the vintage look. But the featherweight at number 12 proves modern engineering can shave pounds in ways that would have seemed impossible 20 years ago. Number 12. Honda CB 300R. The CB 300R is a stripped-down, aggressive-looking neo-sports cafe machine hiding a massive secret. It weighs 316 pounds. That is lighter than most maxi scooters. The seat height is 31.6 inches. Honda achieved this by tucking the exhaust under the engine, pushing the engine as far forward and down as possible, and cutting weight from every component that did not absolutely need to be heavy. The result is a machine that feels like a mountain bike with an engine. Steering inputs require mere ounces of pressure. You can weave through a parking lot or a rutted gravel driveway with precision that heavy bikes can never deliver. The 408 pounds cruiser riders are wrestling at the gas station. The CB 300R makes that number look embarrassing. The 286cc liquid-cooled engine produces enough punch to cruise at 70 miles per hour with passing power to spare. That is the critical advantage over the air-cooled bikes lower on this list. You can get on a highway, pass a slow truck, and feel safe doing it. The Showa suspension handles harsh potholes without sending shockwaves up your spine. The seat is slightly firm, but the suspension quality compensates. New pricing is $5,149. Used models sit around $3,500 to $4,000. One senior traded in a 600-pound cruiser because his hips were failing. The CB 300R is so light he can back it up an incline while sitting in the seat. Honda built a featherweight champion. The Swedish machine at number 11 looks like it was built for a post-apocalyptic film and handles like nothing else on this list. Number 11. Husqvarna Svartpilen 401. If the other bikes on this list look sensible, the Svartpilen looks like it arrived from the future and is annoyed about it. Urban scrambler energy in a machine that weighs 362 pounds with a 32.2-inch seat height that only sounds tall on paper. The trellis frame is engineered so narrow between the knees that even with a taller seat, your legs drop straight down to the pavement without splaying outward. The wide dirt bike-style handlebars are a gift for senior riders. They give you massive leverage over the front wheel in gravel, tight U-turns, and the kind of sketchy parking lot surfaces that used to make you nervous. You are not fighting the bike. You are steering it with authority. 362 pounds is a manageable weight to recover from a tip-over. The proper backward lift technique gets it upright in seconds. The engine packs 44 horsepower. It cruises at 80 miles per hour and has the passing power to make interstate riding feel effortless. This is not a neighborhood bike pretending to be a highway machine. It genuinely earns its place on the fast road. The seat is firm and the riding position leans forward. 2-hour canyon sessions are its territory, not week-long tours. New pricing is $5,699. Used examples pop up regularly around $4,000. One rider said, "I wanted something light, but still thrilling." The Svartpilen makes me feel alive in corners, and I never worry about dropping it. If this list is making you realize the motorcycle industry has been selling you problems you never needed to have, hit that like button right now. The Svartpilen is sharp and loud. The Austrian machine at number 10 is the same weight, and it adds a TFT screen and cornering ABS to the package. Number 10, KTM 390 Duke. They call it the Corner Rocket. That is not marketing copy. That is an accurate description of what this machine does on a twisty road. The KTM 390 Duke weighs 362 pounds and sits at 32.2 inches. The WP Apex suspension and ultra-lightweight tubular steel frame carry the weight low, and the ride-by-wire throttle makes every throttle input buttery smooth. No sudden surges in a slow parking lot. No jerky takeoffs. The turning radius is remarkably tight. You can whip the Duke around in a single lane of traffic. Wide, upright handlebars give you full control on unstable gravel. At roughly 360 pounds, recovering from a driveway drop does not require calling anyone for help. The engine is 44 horsepower. It dominates highway traffic and blasts past slow-moving trucks without breaking a sweat. The technology package includes cornering ABS, traction control, and a full-color TFT display. On a motorcycle that weighs less than most people's dining room tables. The upright Street Fighter stance keeps weight off your wrists. Wind blast at highway speeds gets tiring without a fairing, so pack a neck gaiter. New pricing is $6,299. The used market has them stacked up for $3,500 to $4,500. One senior said, "It has cornering ABS, traction control, and a color screen. A premium bike that weighs nothing. He feels safe on it." The KTM is a technological marvel, but the German machine at number 9 delivers that same European refinement with a genius engineering trick under the hood that changes everything about how the bike handles. Number 9, BMW G310R. You do not need a 600-pound GS to put a BMW in your garage. The G310R is 361 pounds of European refinement. The seat is 30.9 inches. But the engineering trick that makes this bike exceptional is the reversed cylinder. BMW tilted the single-cylinder engine backward, putting the intake at the front and the exhaust at the rear. This shifts the center of gravity down and directly between your knees. The balance is eerie. It feels like the bike wants to stay upright on your behalf. The clutch pull is famously light. The reversed engine layout prevents the front end from feeling top-heavy under hard braking in a parking lot. Riders with hand strength concerns take note. Picking up 361 pounds with proper technique is entirely realistic. The 34 horsepower engine handles 75 miles per hour with ease on flat ground. Steep inclines require more RPMs to maintain that pace, but on normal terrain, it feels adequate. BMW tuned the suspension to be plush and compliant over broken pavement. The ergonomics are relaxed and upright. Long back road days do not punish you. New pricing is $4,995. Used models are a genuine deal at $3,000 to $4,000. One rider called it his retirement bike. Premium BMW badge, great brakes, and he does not need his grandson to help him back it out of the shed. The BMW is refined and clever. The Yamaha at number 8 takes a high-revving sport bike engine and wraps it in a seat height that matches the Super Cub. Number 8, Yamaha MT-03. The MT-03 is the naked version of the legendary R3 sport bike. Same screaming engine, less aggressive seating position, more comfortable every day, and senior-friendly in ways the R3 never was. Weight is 373 pounds. Seat height is 30.7 inches, which is the same as the Honda Super Cub at number 15. The difference is that the MT-03 will cruise the interstate at 80 miles per hour, while the Super Cub tops out at 55. Yamaha used a long swing arm that stretches the wheelbase slightly, giving this lightweight machine the high-speed stability of something much heavier. At speed, it surprises new owners every time. At 30.7 inches, most riders can flat-foot this machine. When you can plant both feet on the pavement at a red light, fear of dropping it in a gravel lot drops close to zero. The 321cc parallel twin produces 41 horsepower and screams to 12,000 RPM. Smooth, refined, vibration-free at highway speeds. Your hands do not go numb. You sit inside the bike rather than perched on top of it. The sculpted tank locks your knees in. The upright bars eliminate wrist strain. This is a machine you can ride for 4 hours without arriving in pain. New pricing is $4,999. Used examples hover around $3,500 to $4,000. One older rider traded in a rattling cruiser that numbed his hands. The Yamaha parallel twin is so smooth he can ride 4 hours without fatigue. The Yamaha is silky smooth. The Kawasaki at number 7 is powerful, light on the clutch hand, and built specifically for riders who refuse to sacrifice performance when they downsize. Number 7. Kawasaki Z400. The Z400 proves you do not need to sacrifice raw acceleration when you go lightweight. This is a street brawler in a featherweight body. It weighs 368 pounds and sits at 30.9 inches. The high-tensile steel trellis frame is rigid but weighs next to nothing. The steering geometry is sharp. The bike dives into corners with intention rather than physical effort. Here is the feature senior riders talk about most: the factory assist and slipper clutch. The lever requires 20% less effort than a standard clutch. For riders with arthritis or hand pain, this is not a convenience feature. It is a game changer. 368 pounds after a driveway tip-over is manageable. Nothing about this bike is hard to live with. The 399cc engine puts out 44 horsepower with strong mid-range torque. It cruises at 80 miles per hour without strain. This is the most powerful machine we have covered on this list so far. The suspension is tuned for street riding, the seat is supportive, and the upright ergonomics protect your lower back at speed. New pricing is $5,399. Used models are widely available for around $4,000. One senior called the slipper clutch a career saver. His arthritis had made his heavy touring bike impossible to ride. The Kawasaki gave him his riding life back. If this list is saving your riding career, subscribe to the channel right now. We cover lightweight options, mechanical secrets, and money-saving tips every week. The Kawasaki is powerful and hand-friendly. The Triumph at number 6 delivers something the Japanese bikes simply cannot match: genuine British heritage at a price that should not be possible. Number 6. Triumph Speed 400. When Triumph announced a 400 cubic centimeter motorcycle, the industry laughed. Then they saw the specs. Then they stopped. The Speed 400 weighs 375 pounds and sits at 31.1 inches. Triumph designed a compact TR series engine from scratch. The mass is centered perfectly. The aluminum swing arm drops the unsprung weight. The result is a bike that feels glued to the pavement. The ride-by-wire throttle is tuned to be linear, with no snatchy behavior at low speeds. Rolling on the throttle through a slow U-turn feels predictable and calm. That kind of smooth power delivery is worth more to a senior rider than peak horsepower figures. At 375 pounds, a backward lift gets it upright in seconds. The 398cc single-cylinder pushes 39.5 horsepower. It features a counterbalancer that eliminates the harsh vibrations most singles hammer into your hands. The highway cruising is relaxed and smooth. You can ride it for hours without your palms going numb. Triumph did not cheap out on the seat foam. The ergonomics are relaxed and commanding. Premium fit and finish at a price that shocks people when they hear it. New pricing is $5,795. Used examples are rare given how new the model is, but expect around $5,000. One senior wanted a Bonneville, but they weigh nearly 500 pounds. The Speed 400 gives him the same gorgeous Triumph aesthetic, and he can push it around his garage with one hand. Triumph brought British class to the lightweight segment. The Indian machine at number 5 brings something different, the most relaxed engine character on this entire list. Number 5, Royal Enfield Hunter 350. Royal Enfield has taken over the global lightweight market for one reason. They build motorcycles that feel alive at low speeds without requiring any effort from the rider. The Hunter 350 sits at 399 pounds with a 31.1-inch seat height. The 17-inch cast alloy wheels reduce rotational mass, making the steering quick and the cornering feel planted. The 349cc engine produces a surge of low-end torques that makes slow-speed riding feel effortless. You do not have to rev it to get moving. Ease out the clutch and the bike chugs forward on its own. Tight parking lots and gravel driveways are a non-event. 399 pounds is approaching the upper limit for some older riders after a tip-over. But with proper backward squat technique, most riders over 60 can recover it. The highway is not this bike's territory. 20 horsepower means 70 miles per hour is about the ceiling. This is a backroad machine, a countryside cruiser, a Sunday morning ride bike. It does that job better than almost anything on this list. The suspension is tuned for harsh urban surfaces, and the riding position is neutral and relaxed. Long afternoons on winding county roads do not punish your back or wrists. New pricing is $3,999, which makes it the best value on the list. Used models go for around $3,000. One rider said it best, "I do not want to go 100 miles per hour anymore." The Hunter has a beautiful, thumping exhaust note and chugs along the back roads. Pure, simple motorcycling. The Hunter is backroad bliss. The adventure bike at number 4 takes you 3 states further without adding a pound of fear. Number 4, Kawasaki Versys-X 300. You want touring capability. You want wind protection. You want to cross state lines and explore. But you refuse to wrestle a 600-pound behemoth through a gas station parking lot. The Versys-X 300 is the answer to that exact problem. It weighs 386 pounds and sits at 32.1 inches. The parallel twin engine from the Ninja 300 lives inside a genuine adventure bike chassis with tall, wide handlebars that give you maximum leverage over the front wheel on any surface. The 19-inch front spoked wheel rolls over massive potholes, deep gravel, and washed-out dirt roads without deflecting. Navigating rough terrain at 5 miles per hour feels stable and calm. The bike does not get rattled. You do not get rattled. At 386 pounds, dropping it on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere is not a disaster. You can get it back up and keep riding. The massive front fairing and tall windshield means 75 miles per hour on the interstate feels protected and comfortable. This is a genuine touring machine scaled down to human proportions. You can cross 3 states on this bike and arrive without a sore back. New pricing is $6,199. Used examples sit around $4,000. One senior sold his massive ADV bike because it terrified him in parking lots. The Versys-X lets him tour 3 states away and flat-foot it at every gas station. If you are finding lightweight bikes you never knew existed, drop a comment below telling us which one surprised you most. We read every single one. The Versys is a touring legend in a small package. The Honda at number 3 adds Honda reliability and a brilliant slip and assist clutch to the middleweight formula. Number 3, Honda SCL500. Honda took their legendary 471cc parallel twin and dropped it into a retro scrambler chassis. The SCL500 is what happens when the world's most reliable engine gets a lifestyle makeover. The wet weight is 419 pounds with a 31.1-inch seat height. It crosses the 400-pound mark, but it hides that weight brilliantly. The high-mounted exhaust and narrow fuel tank let you stand up on the pegs and shift your body weight to control the bike's balance on tricky surfaces. The slip and assist clutch eliminates hand fatigue. The flat bench-style seat lets you slide forward or backward to distribute your weight during tight turns. These are small details that add up to a big difference for senior riders. At 419 pounds, picking it up requires the proper backward squat technique, but a healthy rider over 60 can absolutely manage it. The 46 horsepower engine is one of the best in the middleweight segment. Smooth, powerful passing at 80 miles per hour, no harsh vibrations, no fatigue. You can ride the interstate for 2 hours and not feel beaten up when you arrive. The upright, ergonomics, and thick suspension travel handle light off-road duties and rough pavement with equal comfort. This bike fits multiple riding styles without compromise. New pricing is $6,799. Used models sit around $5,500. One older rider uses it for everything. 2 hours on the interstate and then a fire road to his cabin. He said it is the only bike he needs. The SCL is a brilliant all-rounder, but the king of relaxed cruising at number 2 has a seat height so low it almost feels like cheating. Number 2, Royal Enfield Meteor 350. If your goal is pure relaxation on 2 wheels without the existential terror of a 900-pound Harley, the Meteor 350 is the answer. It is a classic cruiser. It has the look, the sound, and the vibe. It just does not have the backbreaking weight. The Meteor weighs 421 pounds with a seat height of 30.1 inches. That low seat neutralizes the weight. Your feet are flat on the ground with a deep bend in your knees. You have massive leverage over the machine at a standstill. Gravel lots and angled driveways stop being terrifying. The heel-toe shifter means you never have to scuff your boots or strain your ankle to change gears. Heavy traffic and tight parking lots are completely drama-free. The bike chugs through stop and go with a patient, thumping character that makes riding feel like music. When it tips over, the pegs catch it before it goes flat. Wide bars make standing it back up a quick operation. 20 horsepower is the honest ceiling here. This is a 60 miles per hour backwards cruiser. It was not designed for the interstate, and it does not pretend to be. Understand that, and you will love every mile. Forward set foot pegs, a plush touring seat, swept back handlebars. You are not riding a motorcycle, you are cruising. New pricing is $4,699. Used examples are widely available for $3,500. One senior could not handle his 800-pound bagger anymore. The Meteor gives him the full cruiser lifestyle in a package he can control. Pure joy. The Meteor is a cruiser dream, but the machine at number 1 solved every single problem on this list simultaneously. Low seat, highway power, Honda reliability, and a weight that disappears the moment you roll away. Number 1, Honda Rebel 500. The undisputed king of the lightweight senior motorcycle market. The Honda Rebel 500 solved every problem older riders face, simultaneously in one package. The wet weight is 408 pounds. The seat height is 27.2 inches. And before you move on, read that number again. 27.2 inches. You do not flat foot the Rebel 500. You sit in it, knees bent, feet planted, ground embarrassingly close. The center of gravity is so low that the 408 pounds disappears. Riders report it feels lighter than bikes, 100 pounds lighter. The physics are working for you. Gravel driveways, steep parking lots, sharp U-turns on a hill. The Rebel handles all of it with total composure. You can paddle walk it backward with zero fear. For riders whose confidence took a hit after a drop, this bike rebuilds that confidence fast. When it tips over, the ultra-low center of gravity makes it easier to lever upright than almost anything else on this list. The engine is the same 471cc, 46 horsepower unit found in the Honda SCL 500 at number 3. 85 miles per hour, stable and relaxed. Passing semi-trucks without drama. It earns every mile. The rider triangle is relaxed. Your arms rest naturally on the bars. The low seat keeps you protected from wind buffeting. Long days in the saddle are comfortable. New pricing is $6,749. The used market is flooded with clean examples for $3,500 to $4,000. One rider thought his riding days were over. His balance was not what it used to be. The Rebel 500 sits so low, he feels anchored to the ground. It gave him another 10 years of riding. The industry wants your ego to buy the heaviest, most expensive machine on the floor. Your body wants something you can actually ride. Now you know the difference. 15 bikes, every one of them light enough to pick up, every one of them manageable enough to enjoy for another decade. The industry spent years convincing you that bigger means better. It does not. It means heavier, and heavier is the reason riders quit. Continue the ride and click on the next video. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video.